Life. Why do I walk into a room and forget what I was going to do? Why do I call somebody on the phone and I hear them saying, "Hey, how are you?" And I think to myself, who did I call and who are you?
Yeah.
What's going
and
on?
How come that never happened to me before, and why am I in my 40s?
And happening a lot.
Yes, yes, because we are completely and totally distracted all the time, 24/7. We have people wanting us for a million.
Scary, I have to tell you, Ann. It almost, I think sometimes is this early onset Alzheimer's, but I guess not. It's just normal for what's going on. And it's as bad as I'm driving on a road in St. Louis that I'm familiar with, and I pull over and I'm a little shaky and I think, where am I? Wait a minute, where am I going and where? And I'm looking at my surroundings that I've been to 1,000 times.
Right.
That's normal?
Right. So our brain knows how to do certain things. That's why if you ask somebody, do you remember driving here today? Do you remember driving your kids maybe in their carpool or wherever? And a lot of times you're like, no, I don't remember what I did. Because our brain just knows. It's habitual. It knows how to do that. It knows exactly what to do when we get in a car. And we don't need we don't need to focus and think about that very, very much. But what happens as we age, our brain ages. The last part of our brain to develop, which typically our brain is in full development by early 20s, but that's why kids and teenagers are often risk takers. And I bring that up because if our brain is fully developed by our mid-20s, then it's 20 years later, and then we're trying to recall stuff. Oftentimes we can recall stuff from years ago, but it's hard for us sometimes to recall things from that just happened not too long ago. So that's the other thing, is all of a sudden you're asked to, oh, stop what you're doing, thinking about, and go do this. And if you do that all day long, your brain just truly gets tripped up. That's why there are things now where we're producing, find remedies to produce more serotonin to keep the synapses firing in a healthy manner, so that you are on all the time. People often take ginkgo biloba or other fish oils and things like that to keep their brain healthy.
But I can't be taking a bunch of stuff. If for everything breaking down in my body,
yes,
I would
it's
be
just one more
on 50
thing.
meds.
Yeah, I'm telling you, yeah. So a couple things that you can do are things like to make lists for yourself. Actually, when you do the exercise of actually putting pen to paper, so many of us are used to doing things through electronics. While that's good and it's handy, oftentimes though, if it breaks down, or like for instance, do you have certain numbers memorized?
I don't know my kids' numbers.
Right, but you probably remember your home number from maybe growing up.
Right.
So you can remember your mother's number maybe, or things like that, people that you've called. But the newer information, you tell your brain, I don't need to remember that, because you have a button. Oftentimes we can get in a rut where all we do is drive from A to B or manage simple tasks. The one thing that most women do in a home is grocery shopping. So, and we have a routine typically. Do you go to the same grocery store every time?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or at least the same 3.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know how they're laid out.
Right.
So when you go in, you know if you're looking for a specific item, you know where it's going to be in that grocery store. And there's a whole science and a whole psychology to it.
Yeah, but I still manage to always forget something when I leave the grocery store.
Do you write a list?
I don't.
Yeah, and so that's another thing. It will commit you, because oftentimes, even like I've written down the list and then I forget it at home, or I leave it in the car and I'm too much in a hurry because I've got too many things distracting me. I gotta go. Or when you're in the grocery store and you run into friends, then you're distracted again.
So true.
So the next thing you know is I can recall something that I've actually written down on a list.
I can actually see it almost on the list when I've written it down.
Yeah.
I can see it in my head. Like,
so
okay, I know
then
what I wrote.
that helps you prompt it. But if you just decided, I'm going to make this recipe and I know in my mind what it's already called for, and you go to the store without a list.
Total fail.
Yeah. You come home and you're like, I forgot the main ingredient.
Well, as we wrap up, let me ask you this. Does it get worse as we age, or can it get better, or is this just, is it deteriorating, our brain?
Well, it can be deteriorating if you have some hereditary, if you have obviously some medical, physiological things in your history or in your sort of your family dynamics, what have you, that can attribute to that, head injuries, things like that. But I will say that as our kids age and as things sort of move forward, it does get better because we're less distracted. The less distracted you are, the sharper your memory is going to be. So it's just knowing that, okay, I've just got a lot on my plate right now and things are going to fall through the crack. And the easiest way, if I don't want that to happen, is just seriously make a conscious effort. Make the conscious effort. Write something down. Make lists. Remind
So
yourself.
it's like the rest of our body at midlife, our brain is sagging.
That's right. It is. It's sagging. So we need to pump it up.
Thank you so much, Ann.
Thank you.
All right.